Hey guys, how you doing? Joe McCall, and I'm with Gavin Timms. Hope you guys are doing well.
Hey guys, how we doing?
All right, guys, welcome to our webinar. We're going to be talking about a lot of things, and where our goal is to finish under an hour. So by 4:07 p.m. Central Time, I want to be done. And so our goal, we're going to jump right in. We're going to go through this pretty quick and answer Q&A. So our goal is to give you some market predictions for 2019. Talk about biggest mistakes we see investors making right now and how to avoid them. And these are going to be mistakes that you really need to be aware of if you want to succeed in 2019. We're going to talk about the most important things that we're seeing investors that are successful, that are focused. What are they focusing on, right? What are we doing right now? What are we focusing on? That is going to be even more critical and important in 2019 going forward. So we're going to be talking about mistakes to avoid and the right things to do. We're going to be demonstrating our new REI Simple. It's the new CRM that I've created that's specific and customized for lease option owner financing, more creative real estate deals. So I'm really excited to show that to you. We're just going to kind of give you a peek under the hood, behind the curtain, and show you some of the things that it can do. It's not ready and available yet. Well, it is ready, but it's not available yet. And so it's going to be pretty cool. And we're also going to talk about, if you're interested, an opportunity where you can work with us closely and start doing some deals with us. Reason why we're looking to really grow and expand. We're bullish on this market in 2019. We want to grow and do more deals in new markets, specifically lease options, owner financing, creative deals. So we really want to grow into new markets, and so we've been really good over the years with creating systems and marketing and getting leads, generating lots of leads. And so we can set that stuff up really quickly when a normal person takes months and months of headaches trying to figure that stuff out. We can set it up in a matter of hours. So we're going to talk about that. And then at the end, we're going to answer all your Q&A. So if you have questions, please type them in the question box, and we will get to them at the end. Cool. Anything you want to add to that, Gavin?
No, I think you covered everything. Yeah, so guys, if you put your questions in, I may try and answer some of them as we go, but most of them will be left till the end. So yeah, I think this is going to be a great webinar.
Yeah, good. I've been in the business not as long as some people, but since 2006. I was part-time for about 3 years and then full-time in 2009. So I've seen the market at its peak, I've seen it as it's collapsed, and I've seen it as it's climbed back up. And so I'm not the veteran that some people are that have been in real estate since the 70s and 80s. But I have some bruises. I have some nicks and scrapes and bruises on my shins. And I've seen what works. I've seen a lot of people fail in this business. I've seen a lot of people succeed. And while some are getting real nervous about the market, I'm excited about the coming market for various reasons. But the biggest reason is I got started when the market was falling. I quit my job, when the market was falling, and I did the most deals when the market was going downward. And then when it hit bottom, I adjusted and changed and still did more deals as the market was going back up. So as long as you are open to change and you're willing to adjust your strategies, you're going to do just fine in this market, no matter what direction it goes. Who knows? I almost said something stupid like, well, I don't want to get involved in politics. I'm going to stay away from politics, Joe. But who knows? The market may crash, may have a be worse than the depression. Or it may actually go up or maybe flat. It doesn't matter. That's the beautiful thing about real estate, okay? The stock market goes up and down on a dime. People, it's just very emotional and erratic. But the coolest thing about real estate is it's a lot slower, okay? And it's regional. But people are always going to need a roof over their heads. As long as you're in the market and focusing on homes that people can afford, you're always going to do well. They say the population in the United States is going to double in the next 30 to 40 years. Double in the next 30 to 40 years. People need a place to live. So I'm always bullish on the housing market, whether it's going up or whether it's going down. I can adjust my strategies, and I'm never really in a deal for an extended period of time without either an option or a way to get out if the deal goes bad. I always protect myself. It's one of the biggest lessons I learned from the crash in 2008 and 9. Making sure I'm not in a position where I'm assuming too much risk and liability. Okay, so that's the one big thing I want you to take away from this is, as we start going into 2019, make sure you're not in any deals where you're overexposed to risk and liability. Okay, market changes all the time. Who cares? Really, you just need to be prepared to move where the cheese is moving to. There's a great book called Who Moved My Cheese? You can read it in a couple hours, find it on Amazon. I'm always thinking about that, looking at where the market's going. And this is one of the main points we wanted to make. Like, if you want to succeed in this market, you need to start pivoting away from just wholesaling and start learning creative financing. If all you're doing is wholesaling to cash buyers, it already has been getting more and more difficult the last few years. But it's going to be getting even more difficult for various reasons coming up into 2019, I believe. That's my opinion. Wholesaling is getting harder. Okay, it's more competitive than ever before. More wholesalers are out there competing for fewer deals, for fewer buyers. This is what's going on. Cash buyers are starting to pull their money out of the market. We're starting to see it slow down in some of the markets we're in. One of the advantages that I have of doing the podcast and being in the masterminds that I'm in is I network with a lot of investors all over the country, and I'm getting to see what's going on. And we're starting to see buyers right now becoming more skeptical, more cautious. And here's what's crazy. Cash buyers who are making offers to buy deals from you, the wholesaler, they're starting to lower their expected sale prices in 6 months. So you've got a house that needs to be fixed up. You're selling it to a rehabber. They're looking at, okay, I'm going to fix this thing up and I'm going to sell it in 3 months, in 6 months, all right? Well, if a house is worth $500 today, it used to be last year, the year before, if a house is worth $500 today, that wholesaler, that rehabber's thinking, I'm going to sell it for $525 in 3 months, or I'm going to make it the nicest house, sell it for $550 in 6 months. Not anymore. If that house is worth fixed up $500 today, they're thinking in 3 to 6 months, I'm going to sell it for $475, maybe $450. They're being more conservative. Days on market are getting longer. The average sale prices are getting are going down. I saw recently an article in Seattle. It's been one of the hottest housing markets in the U.S. They're seeing a 11% price drop in the last 6 months. So it's already happening. This isn't new. So you just got to be aware of that. It's not enough to just say, well, I'm going to offer less to the sellers then. I mean, that's okay, but you're already are trying to get these big, huge discounts. So you got to be aware of what the buyers want, what they're looking for, and go find that product. But what happens now is that the sellers do not know, as well as investors do and realtors do for the most part, that the values are going down. So there's this gap right now. This is really important to understand. There's this gap where investors are starting to be more cautious. And so they're lowering their expectations. They're lowering their prices that they want to buy houses at. But sellers haven't done that yet. They're still up here. They still think the market is strong. And so there's going to be a period, this happens in every change in the market. There's a period of 6 to 12 months where the seller's expectations are still here. They haven't come down yet. And investors are now starting already down here. So that is kind of happening. Now, every market is different. I understand that. But if you look historically, markets like California and Phoenix and Vegas and Florida and Denver and Nashville, Tennessee, those kinds of markets are leading indicators of what's going to happen around the rest of the country. And we're starting to see that. So fewer investors are looking for rehabs. And a lot of landlords are getting tired and burnt out by low-end rental properties. Okay. The other thing is I'm going to tell you is that hedge funds can and will change on a dime. This is really important. All that matters is what Wall Street says, not what you, the investor, says, not what the property management company says. You cannot just rely on a handful of buyers if you want to be successful in 2019. They may say, and I've been hearing this for the last few years, that hedge funds, these big companies that are buying a bunch of properties, they're bullish. They're going to be buying lots and lots of inventory for years to come. They can change on a dime like that, okay? They can change in a heartbeat. They don't care what you think. They don't care about our opinion. All right, if some banker at Goldman Sachs, and now that the stock market is really tanking and it's going to go down some more, they're starting to get nervous, right? Their foreign investors are pulling out of their money. So, you know, you got to be just aware that you can't have all your eggs in one basket. If you have a few buyers that are either working with hedge funds or working kind of in conjunction or whatever, they can change overnight. And I've seen this happen over and over and over again. So don't just be reliant on a handful of buyers. The other thing I want to tell you is you guys need to focus on bread and butter homes in this market. Whether you're doing wholesaling or lease options or owner financing, whatever, you need to focus on the median priced homes. And that's different for every market. But if you do this, you're going to be safe, at least a lot safer if it catastrophic happens, okay? Median price, how do you find that? Well, you take all the homes that have sold and you rank them from low to high, right? And then you get this bell curve. The bell curve is that area in the middle where most of the homes are being bought and sold. That's where you want to focus. You've got to be really, really careful of those homes that are on the far sides of that bell curve, the real cheap homes and the real expensive homes. For example, in St. Louis, let's say the median home price of a home here is $175,000, okay? You want to focus your marketing on the homes between like 125 and maybe 250,000. It's not an exact science, but like if you stay in that price range, 125 to 250 maybe, that's where 75, 80% of the homes that are bought and sold are in that price range. If you want to be even more careful, narrow that in a little bit. Maybe 150 to 200. That's the areas you want to focus on. Why? Because you know if you get a house, whether it's a lease option, owner finance, or wholesaling, in that price range, chances are a lot higher that you're going to find a good buyer for that, and you're going to sell it quickly. Does that make sense? So focus on the blue-collar neighborhoods, the working class areas, good school districts. Those properties will always be in demand. All right? Anything you want to add to that, Gavin?
No, I mean, you did a good job. I didn't want to interrupt. But you're definitely right with the hedge funds. In the last 3 months, in the last quarter, we lost 13 deals that was in closing with a hedge fund. And they ran out of funds. And this wasn't like, oh, they're going to buy. We were signed on the dotted line. We were just waiting for their funds to come in. And they said, we're not buying it. And that's the end of it. You can do
it. Does,
take it to court.
They had the contract signed.
Oh, yeah,
right?
It was it. They were signed. And they said, we're not paying. We're like, and take us to court, do what you want. We've got no money, and that's the end of it. So we lost 13. So then, and that's the thing, you know, you've got to be, we've got other deals. We had lease options going. We had other deals. We're not just relying on that one to survive. But when something like that, I mean, we're talking over $200,000 in the pipeline to close, just taken away. So you need multiple strategies, and you can't just rely on one thing.
Yeah, very good. Think Realty just came out with an article recently that I wanted to just highlight a few things from here. If you just Google thinkrealty.com and then 2019 housing outlook, you'll find this article as well. I just wanted to highlight a few things from this. They interviewed some high-end economists, and they asked them questions like, what will be the most important housing market trend in 2019? I want to read some of these things to you. This guy, Zandy, now I don't know if these guys are legit or not, but this is kind of what's going on there. Rents and house prices continue to rise strongly, outpacing income gains, creating increasingly serious affordability problems for lower and middle income households. That's not a prediction. I think that's something that's been going on for the last 3 years, but he's just saying it's going to continue to rise. Okay. The housing market in 2019, after a period of uncertain direction and swings, will turn out to be quite boring. I hope he's right. I mean, maybe he is. I don't know, right? This guy, Terrazas, home sales and broader economic activity could slow more substantially in a handful of regional markets, primarily in the least affordable parts of the country, but it will pick up in more affordable areas. So again, if you're in the West Coast, the East Coast, and some of these more high-end expensive markets, just be careful. You're going to see sharper swings in prices there, right? What's interesting here is U.S. home affordability trends. You can see the trend is going up. House prices are becoming less affordable. They're becoming more expensive. And guess what's happening to mortgage interest rates? They're also going up. So it has to come down. It can't go up forever. What's happening is people, if they're in a $300,000 home and they want to downsize, with interest rates going up, they can't just sell their house and buy a cheaper house with interest rates a point higher than what they were at before. Their mortgage payment would be the same. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say? So there's just a lot of uncertainty. People are trying to figure out what's going on. What's the outlook for existing home sales in 2019? Duncan says the peak existing home sales market 2017 is already behind us. So the peak is already behind us. So most people already agree with that. This guy says with rising interest rates, demand should soften, both from increasingly stretched first-time home buyers and from repeat buyers who opt against moving. Kiefer says with the population growing and the millennials generations showing up in the housing market, I would expect to see modest growth of 1% or so in existing home sales. Median home prices are going up in this chart. I don't think this shows the last half of 2018, but you see house appreciation going down as well. Focus on that median price range. Now, here's what's interesting. I was talking to a home builder Sunday after church, and this guy's been in the business for a long, long time, probably 20, 30 years. And the big problem right now with new home construction is it's too expensive to build median-priced homes. The cost of materials, what's going on with China, whatever, the price of steel and wood, materials, they're way too high. It's too expensive for these builders to build affordable homes. So I think what's going to happen is in 2019, there may be some government intervention to try to help bring those costs down. Who knows? I don't know. But if they're going to build new homes, they've got to lower the cost of construction because it's too expensive, which is it's going to be a challenging time. All right. So anyway, read this article. If you want, you get kind of some different opinions, but most by and by, they're all predicting mortgage rates are going to continue to go up. House price appreciation will slow down. They're predicting mortgage rates to be in the upper 5s to 6%, 5.5% to 6%. And again, when somebody had 3.5%, 4%, and they're going to have to sell their house and move to another one and get a mortgage at 6%, that 2%, historically 6% is insane. That's really, really good. But when you're selling your house at 3.5%, 4% and buying a new house at 6%, that's a big adjustment in interest rate. And you could get a way cheaper house, but your monthly mortgage payment is going to be the same. One good thing I'll say too is what we're not going to see, in my opinion, is a repeat of the banking crisis that we saw in 2008 and 9. Banks are in a much, much safer, better position today than they were back then. Okay, they're not giving crazy loans anymore. Their books are a lot more solid. So if there is any kind of crisis or recession, it's not going to be because of banks being crazy. It's probably going to be because of our government, what's going on with the Federal Reserve, the interest rate policies, our trade war with China. That's the stuff that I think most economists are worried about. And you know what happens when government gets involved in things. They always screw it up. So, okay, read that article if you're interested. And if you have questions on this stuff or if you have some of your own opinions, please type them in the chat box and we will get to them at the end. These are some of the big...
Sorry, a couple of people are asking where can they get that article.
You just Google. There's this thing called The Google, and you go to Think Realty. Just look up Think Realty 2019 Housing Outlook.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, biggest investors, mistakes that investors are making. This is in no particular order, but as we were putting this together, this is something that I was really thinking about, and I think a lot of people need to be aware of this. So some of the biggest mistakes, and this is going to be more important in 2019. you only have one offer to give to sellers, and you're throwing away deals if they don't have enough equity. That is a huge mistake. Marketing costs for deals have gone up 3 to 4 times in the last couple of years, right? Where before 3 or 4 years ago, you could spend $1,000 in marketing to get one deal. Right now, in most parts of the country, you're spending $3,000 to $5,000 in marketing to get one deal. So the cost of marketing is going up because the competition is going up. More investors are in the market, and there's this pile here of motivated sellers that have a lot of equity, right? It's big, but it's like this. The pile of sellers that have motivation and not much equity is much bigger. You understand? So all these investors that are out there trying to find these deals from this small pool of motivated sellers that have equity, and they're ignoring this giant ocean of investors that don't have much equity but are still motivated. Just talking to one of our clients this morning, I think it was Gavin, or yesterday. They have a seller that they're working on a deal, and guess what happens? The seller got transferred to another city, was trying to sell their current residence out, sell it, but they couldn't, and now they're already one mortgage payment behind, and we're only in January. How on earth, right? They don't want to be a long-distance landlord. They're freaking out. They don't know what to do. But if you understand creative financing and lease options, you could buy that house as a lease option or an owner financing, get that loan caught up with just a little bit of money from the buyer that you put in there. You can get good cash flow, and you can now control a really valuable piece of real estate without owning it. So control without ownership is going to be the key to your success in 2019. That's a big, big thing I want you to think about. So, if you're doing traditional wholesaling, you're only getting like 1 out of every 20 offers accepted. What if you could just get 3 out of 20 offers accepted? What would that do to your cost in marketing per deal? It would cut it in half, it would cut it in thirds, or whatever, right? It's like, so if you're just only offering cash, that's why you're spending $3,000 to $5,000 in marketing per deal. But if you've got a lead that doesn't have much equity, and you can offer them a lease option or owner financing or something like that, now instead of 1 out of 20 offers get accepted, you can get 3, 4, 5 out of 20 offers accepted. You can do a lot more deals. This is why I'm so passionate about this. So stop throwing away leads that don't have much equity. Another big mistake, you're focusing too much on direct mail. Direct mail, it's competitive, it's expensive. It's not getting you on the phone enough with sellers. You need to really start looking at cold calling. We're doing 5 to 10 deals a month down south right now, and we're getting almost all of our deals from cold calling, right? And we're also following up with old leads. This is something we're going to be talking about more in what investors are doing to succeed. So you need to start following up with old leads. And if you don't want to do more direct mail, what can you do? Well, you can start partnering with other wholesalers on their dead leads. And if you are going to do direct mail, I would say you can still do some direct mail, but focus on the smaller specialty lists. Okay, a good list, maybe tax liens, or delinquent taxes, probates, maybe evictions or code violations. Those smaller niched lists are still really important. We're not saying direct mail is dead. But because I know a lot of guys that are doing deals with direct mail, and it will always work, but don't just focus all of your marketing energy and dollars and resources on direct mail. You can't have all your eggs in that one basket, especially if you don't have a huge budget. Man, if you're not sending out 10, 20, 30,000 postcards a month, you're not going to get enough leads. I remember we used to get 3 to 5% response rates. Now we're happy if we get half of 1% response rate. Okay? So stop trying to catch a falling knife or trying to push that pony uphill. All right? Just start looking at what else can I do, and stop following the masses. Another big mistake is that investors are not focusing on what's most important. You're chasing too many shiny objects. All right, there's a lot of podcasts out there, YouTube videos, courses and events and books. Like, we get it. I totally believe in education, but you got to be real careful and not be tempted into falling into this trap of chasing shiny object after shiny object. Here's what's going to happen. Focus will make you rich in 2019. Focus will make you rich. Shiny objects will make you go blind. So I want to encourage you to focus, right? And we're going to talk a little bit what to focus on in here, but I think that's really critical. And Gavin, feel free to interrupt me anytime here. We're just cruising along.
Yeah, no problem.
I see a big mistake that is too many guys and gals out there are asking how instead of who. What I mean by that is you're trying to figure out how to do everything and you're getting stuck. You're trying to figure out Podio. You're trying to figure out your websites. You're trying to figure out how all of this fancy techie stuff works, or I don't know, but like you're not good at that, and that's okay. Stop trying to fix your weaknesses. Outsource them. One of the things that I'm weak at that I don't like doing is talking to sellers. So what do? I find other people to do it for me. I find virtual assistants to make my initial cold calls. I partner with local wholesalers and investors to call the sellers and talk to them and close deals. I partner with realtors. I go and find mobile notaries to go to the seller's house to get something signed. So it's like you can, instead of, I'm not saying sales isn't important and we should always be working on increasing our sales game and becoming better at talking to sellers. But I just found, you know what? I'd rather outsource my weakness and stuff I don't like to do and I'm not good at to other people. Okay. One of the biggest problems I had was I was spending way too much time on the phone with sellers. Now I'm much better at it now, but like after talking to 3 sellers and it's been 3 hours, I'm like exhausted. I don't want to talk to anymore. So find people that you can partner with on deals who are good at talking to sellers. Maybe you're somebody that's got money to invest in marketing, but you don't have the time to talk to sellers. Okay. What if you found somebody that has the time to talk to sellers? You invest the marketing, they have the time. What if you have the time to talk to sellers and you're good at sales, you're good on the phone? Well, what if you then find somebody who has the money and say, hey, listen, I'll talk to all your leads and I'll follow up with all your old dead leads if you help me with the marketing. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So stop asking how, start asking who. Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate things. And let me just say this too, when it comes to systems and automation, sometimes the best automation you can get is a good virtual assistant. All right. We try and we spend hours and hours trying to build these fancy systems that just save us a few seconds. It's like, stop it. It's not worth it. You're stepping over dollars to pick up pennies. So sometimes, and I see this over and over again with students, they get bogged down into the minutia and the technical details. When if they just hired a virtual assistant to update the CRM for them, to send the offers for them, to do the follow-up for them, to make sure the marketing goes out, that frees up your time so you can now focus on your highest revenue generating activities. All right. Now, another big, huge mistake, not doing enough follow-up. I know guys that are doing 100 deals a year, which is awesome. But you talk to them about their follow-up and like, we don't follow up enough. They could be doing 200 deals a year if they just did follow-up. Most of your deals are going to come from the follow-up. We're finding on average, and I'll let Gavin join in if he wants on this, but we're finding on average it's 1 to 3 months, well, 2 to 3 months before initial contact and doing a deal. And on average, 5 to 7 touches in between initial contact and a final deal. Gavin, talk about Melissa, one of our coaching clients, who we started working with her because of something that she said to you. Remember this?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in the business since 2013, guys, taught hundreds of people. And she was brand new. We've just completed the first year in real estate, did 337,000 gross year 1. Okay, and before we started working together, she'd done about 3 or 4 deals. And there's one thing that she said, we're doing a coaching call, and we're on the call, and I said, how's it going? She said, good, just come off the phone with a seller. And she said, well, he wasn't interested in selling yet. And I said, what do you mean yet? She said, well, just not yet. I'm just going to keep calling him until he says yes. I was like, you get it.
Ding,
I
ding.
understand. So I got off the phone and I'm like, I need to call her back and create this opportunity to say, look, why don't we start doing some more deals together? You're really good on the phone. You understand this. I know you knew. So we started to set the systems up, drive all the leads in that are pre-screened so she could focus on being on the phone. Now to this day, she does not see property either. She just works the phone. Locks, 95% of our contracts come over the phone. Okay. We are not wasting time going out to see these properties. So I know someone's question was, do I need to go if I do this virtual? How do I get into the property? You don't need to go into the property to start with. You can get the contract over the phone by using the right techniques that we teach. Okay.
I'm going to add that in here. That's good. You need to be open to. Good. All right. So she said, what? I'm going to keep on calling them until they sell their house. That's somebody. That's somebody that's going to do deals, right?
Yeah.
Some of you need to.
Time. Most of our people say no first time. Last 40 deals, we're just looking at numbers. The last 40 deals that we've done, 36 came from 4 or more touches. Okay, over average 3 months.
Say that number again, Gavin. That's really important.
Deals, okay, 36 came from follow-up of 4 or more touches. We do 4 deals from 1 to 2 touches. 4 deals this year. That's the difference between making 40,000 and 337,000. Okay, and we're talking gross, but most of our contracts are under $500 per contract that we get. So per deal closed is $500. And you need to realize, guys, in this business, it's about profit. So it's all right someone saying I spend 60,000 mailers, I've done 5 deals this month, but look at how much they've spent on marketing. $30,000 to get 5 or 6 deals in, you know, San Diego or San Francisco or, you know, Miami, whatever. And it's all about the profit margins. We've got to keep the cost down, get the right amount of leads, and obviously make as much as we can. So it's all about the spread in the middle.
Yeah, exactly right. You know, some of you need to stop doing any new marketing because you've got so many old leads. You just need to go and follow up with your old leads. Take a 2 or 3 month break from spending new money on new marketing. Go back to your old leads and just follow up with them. And we'll talk about some follow-up that you can do here in just a minute, but that's really huge. Now, there's some other big mistakes, not taking massive action. I don't want to spend too much time on this, focusing on the wrong things, trying to do everything yourself, complicating everything, not having a marketing plan, not focusing on sales, having fear of success, fear of competition, fear of making a mistake. So that is a lot of stuff that is important, but we don't have time to talk about. So what should you be focusing on in 2019? We've kind of been talking about this. You need to become more versed on lease options and creative financing, okay? You got to be focusing on the median price areas in your market. Affordability is super important. More sellers are getting motivated and open to lease options right now. I mean, this is insane. In the last 6 months, I've had more students than maybe I have in a long, long time that are coming to me with potential deals. Like I got this seller that's willing to do a lease option, where before that seller was saying, "No, I'll just wait until I sell it on the MLS or with a realtor. I'll just lease it out. You know, the demand is high." People used to know, like, or think like all they needed to do was stick a sign in the yard. They get multiple offers the same day above asking price. Those days are over. So more sellers now are getting open to the idea, more motivated to doing lease options. The other thing I'll tell you is there's a lot of rehabbers right now that have rehabbed a house, can't sell it, and they're very open to lease options. Okay, they've already lost. They don't have any money left. They can't lower the price anymore. They don't want to be a landlord, but they're more open to the idea of leasing a property to somebody who's going to take care of it and who's going to buy it. So you need to be networking with other investors in your market and let them know that you're the lease option guy or girl. And you can do a lot of lease options with houses that rehabbers rehab. They put too much money into it. It hasn't sold as quickly as they thought it would, and they're freaking out. They're perfect. They're great lease option candidates. The other thing you need to be focusing on is sandwich lease options, okay? A lot of you have saw my emails. I'm kind of shutting down all of my old courses. If you have my old courses, you still have them. I'm just not making them available to new people. I know I'm going to get emails about this because I've been getting tons of them. I'm not shutting it down if you already have my courses, but they're not available for new folks. I'm completely revising everything, all right? And I'm going to be creating a brand new lease options course, and I'm only going to be selling one course, and it's going to be on lease options. I'm going to call it Simple Lease Options, and I'm going to be covering the sandwich lease option strategy and the lease option or wholesaling lease option strategies. Does that make sense? But I'm going to be encouraging you guys to focus more on sandwich lease options, where you've got cash now, cash flow, and cash later. These deals are juicy. There's so much meat on the bones. Thank you, Judah, so much. Here, take that. Thank you. There's a lot of meat on the bones on these deals. You can get 5 to 10 grand up front, 300 to 400 a month in cash flow, and you can get 20, 30 grand on the back end on a conservative deal. All right. These lease options, especially as the market is changing now, are what you need to be focusing on because there's very little risk on these deals. You can get out of the deal if the market gets really, really bad. The other cool thing about this is you can double dip sandwich lease option deals. A lot of people don't know this, but it's where like you get a sandwich lease option, you put a tenant buyer in there, you collect 5 to 10 grand from the tenant buyer. Now you've got a property that cash flows $300-400 a month. You can sell that as a package deal to another investor for another $10,000. So if a property cash flows $300 a month, that's $3,600 a year. If you sell that contract package to another investor for 10 grand, they're getting 36% return on their money. Do you think that's a good deal? And they're getting a really nice house that doesn't need any work, and that has back end spread of equity, 20, 30. That is a great, fantastic deal. So you can make 5, 10 grand up front, 5 to 10 grand on the back end. That is a great deal. You can make 20 grand on it that you would have thrown away before because it didn't have enough equity as a traditional wholesaling deal. I hope that makes sense. I know I flew through that fast, but that's what I'm going to be focusing on in my new lease option course that's coming out. And I'm going to be doing it in January, and you'll hear more about that later next week if you're interested in that. All right. The other thing I want to say is you need to be prepared to offer owner financing or land contracts if you're in places like Texas. Maybe the house is free and clear. Like you can't do sandwich lease options in Texas. It's maybe some challenges in other states, but Texas really is the main one. But if the house is free and clear, maybe an owner financing is better. I would say this, though, be careful of subject twos. I'm not a huge fan of taking over the mortgage. I believe it's taking on too much risk. There maybe is a place for it, but I don't like it for new beginning investors. I got severely burned on them. I don't like taking over the deeds. I feel like you're taking on too much liability by doing that. That's my 2 cents. All right, what else do you need to be focusing on? We talked about this. Get on the phone, pick up the phone and talk to people, okay? Gavin, when he was getting started, he had no money for marketing. He went to the local RIAs and said, hey, I'm good at talking on the phone. People like my accent, and I can talk to all of your old leads. And he had people coming up to him and said, hey, can you tell the story? You can tell better than I can.
Yeah, so guys, honestly, when I got started, exactly how Joe just said, and to pick up from that, I had 3 people to work with. The first lady gave me 60 dead leads. These are dead leads. That was her terminology. And I could see from a Google spreadsheet that the marketing came in 3 months ago. So I sat there and dialed every single one. I spoke to 40 out of the 60, closed 2 deals within 3 weeks. And then guess what? Who's in a powerful position? Me. Okay, because she was mind blown, like, can't believe we've got 2 deals from that. And I said, well, what about if you start sending marketing out? I'll take all the calls, okay? And when I get it either under contract or close to being under contract, you can go out and move the deal and we'll split 50-50. And she was like, yeah, how much do you want? And I'm like, 2,000. And she's like, okay, let's start with that. And then that's how I grew. So I didn't early doors. I spent $750. I didn't get a deal in the first month from it. And then I was using 3 other investors spending marketing money where I just sat at home and worked the phone. Okay. And I was doing a ton of deals just from that, making 50% of pure profit.
In a super competitive market.
Yeah. Phoenix. I mean, it's still one of the most competitive markets in the United States. Not so much the price point, but in terms of volume of wholesalers. And I know a few of you are online. From Phoenix, you know exactly what I'm saying. Okay, we used to have 5 people going to the house 5 wholesalers at the house. I mean, it got insane. But people will do business with the people that they like. So you need to, if you're in a competitive market, on the phone, you can eliminate everybody, all right, on the phone. You don't have to be backstabbing and talking bad, but the things that you do, showing an interest in the seller, don't make it about you. It's about them. Wholesalers get it all wrong. You try and go in for the kill and make the money. Make it about them. If they tell you that their daughter's sick, okay, when you follow up, you note that down and you say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, how's it going? This is Gavin, blah, blah. How's your daughter doing? Is she feeling better? Nobody's doing it. Who do they want to do business with? I've just asked how the daughter is, okay? And that is a game changer. So be interested in them.
That's really good. I couldn't say it better. So get on the phone. It's not a cactus. Sales is the $1 million skill. You can do cold calling. You can call old leads. You can call realtors. You can call other wholesalers. You can make a lot of money on the phone. I know a guy, and I tell this story often. He's kind of a hermit. He doesn't like to work very much. He's fat and lazy. But every time he gets broke, he comes out of his cave, and he has a Rolodex, well, whatever you call it these days, of phone numbers, a bunch of phone numbers of investors and rehabbers and landlords and realtors and all these other people. And he goes through that list, a couple hundred, and calls every single one of them and asks them 2 questions. Number 1, do you have any deals? I'm looking for deals. Do you have anything? Number 2, are you looking to buy anything? And eventually, guess what happens as he makes those phone calls and gets through that couple hundred list? He's going to find somebody that has a deal. He's going to find somebody that's looking for a deal. He's going to put them together, make 5 to 10 grand. All right. So that's the power of the phone. Just get on the phone and start talking to people.
Yeah.
The other thing you should be focusing on in 2019 is setting up simple systems for automated follow-up. And this is why I'm so excited about REI Simple, because, in fact, I should clarify that. Simple systems for automated follow-up. You've got to get the follow-up done for you in spite of you. Follow-up, we've been talking about it. It's a theme, right? It's so important. So what are the things you could do? Texting, cold calling, mail, send a handwritten postcard or handwritten letter once a month. Download all of your old leads. Send them a letter. You can do some slide dial. But this follow-up has got to be personalized. It's really important. When you're sending doing a slide dial or sending some mail, call them by name. Ask them, hey, have you sold that house yet on 123 Main Street? I'm still interested in it, etc. So automated follow-up is really important. And if you don't have the right systems and tools to do it for you, then get a VA to do it for you. All right?
Absolutely.
Make lots of offers. That goes without saying. I mean, that's what you should be focusing on every year, but especially now, if you want to do deals, you got to make a lot of offers. We're encouraging our folks to make multiple offers. If the lead's cold, make a cash offer, make an owner financing, make a lease option offer. If they're warm, maybe just give them one offer, but if they say no, then immediately follow up with another offer. Does that make sense? So it's important to give the sellers options. And I want to encourage you to make at least 3 offers a day. Make that your goal. I guarantee if you can make 3 offers a day, you're going to do deals within a couple months. All right? It's not that hard. And these offers shouldn't take you more than a few minutes to make. Don't overthink it. Don't overcomplicate it. I'm going to be doing a podcast real soon here, which, by the way, you all know about my Real Estate Investing Mastery podcast, right? Real Estate Investing Mastery podcast. I've been dropping the mic, laying some huge gold bombs. Is that right? Laying gold on this podcast. You got to listen to it. Just go check out Real Estate Investing Mastery. Listen to this podcast. But I forgot why I even brought that up. Make offers. Talk to sellers every day. And you're going to start doing deals. You need to be focusing on finding good virtual assistants. There's a right way and a wrong way to find good virtual assistants. And your virtual assistants should be only focused on 3 things: marketing, updating your CRM, and doing your follow-up for you. That's it. Why? Because then you can focus on your highest revenue generating activities of talking to sellers, managing your team, your business, whatever, right? So it's like, make sure that you've got somebody that's doing your marketing for you in spite of you. They're updating your CRM for you. You need to get away from the computer. This computer Can you see it? It's tied to my cord there. It's wonderful. It's an amazing piece of technology, but you show me somebody who's really good at technology, really good at the computer, really good at Podio, and I'll show you a broke wholesaler. You don't make any money behind the computer updating your CRM with notes. You need a VA to do that for you, right? So you can spend more time on appointments, on talking to sellers, on making offers. Get a VA, get Voxer, communicate with that VA, and give them your notes. Let them update the CRM, create the tasks, do the follow-up. Super important. The other thing I want to say is be open to virtual markets. I love small town America. There is so much opportunity in small towns right now across America for wholesaling, for lease options, for owner financing. You may live in a big, expensive, competitive market, and you're just kind of like, oh, I don't know what to do. You have the entire United States in your backyard right now. It doesn't matter. With technology, with telephone, with mobile notaries, with digital signatures, you can get local phone numbers in these markets. There's no excuse for why you couldn't do deals in multiple markets. If you really hammered down on this, all right? I had a lady, it was one of my students, her name is Kathy. Every week she would pick a new market. She had 3 little kids that were all under the age of 5 or something, and they were always laughing, crying, playing. They were loud, right? They're always mommy, mommy. She lived in this little tiny house. Husband's working, middle-class family. She just wanted to make some extra money, but she could not talk on the phone to sellers. She couldn't talk on the phone with sellers. So every week she would randomly go and select a new market, just start sending out emails and text messages, and would close 2 to 3 lease option deals a month without ever talking to sellers, just by text and email, okay? Now, there's a whole lot I can share about that, but like the point is, you have the entire United States. If you want, one of the marketing things that you're doing is maybe sending out 30 text messages a day to FSBOs or for rent landlords. If you're just focused on one city, you're going to run out. You're not going to be able to send 20 or 30 a day. It's a numbers game, right? I just talked to one of my students the other day. He's getting more leads than he can handle, and he's sending out 75 text messages a day. All right, 75 a day. Guess what he's doing? He's going after every little market in his entire state. That's how he can get leads. All right, and if you use services like if you use mobile notaries, there's a couple different services we use. It doesn't matter how far away they are. You can get electronic signatures. You can hire a mobile notary for 25, 50, 75 bucks to go to the seller's house, get a contract signed. It doesn't have to be notarized. Get it signed, take some pictures, fill out a property inspection report. So you can hire people to do that stuff for you. So be open to virtual markets. Don't think that you have to do deals in your own market. I'm telling you, if you just picked 3 or 4 different cities and started marketing there in those cities, you'll have more leads than you can handle. Guarantee it.
Absolutely.
And there's less competition in those markets too. All right. So let's go behind the curtain to REI Simple. I'm excited about this. This is only going to be available for students, and it's customized for lease options and owner financing. Now, let me get this thing open here.
I was going to say as well, guys, just real quick. The REI Simple, what you're going to see, I do not get excited about tech stuff. For you that know me, this is not what I get excited about. But when we started to look at this for the first time a few months ago, this thing's ridiculous. And I don't know anything else on the market that does what you actually need it to do from one place. Okay, so listen up, pay attention, because this is mind-blowing. And this is going to save you so much time to allow you, again, to focus on the high dollar an hour activities, because that's what you need to do to make it in this business. And this is going to allow you to do it. Sorry, Joe, carry on.
Well, that's perfect because, guys, let me just tell you, I white labeled FreedomSoft. I went to FreedomSoft. Rob Swanson is an active investor. He does deals, multiple deals a month in multiple markets around the country. He runs his entire business inside of FreedomSoft. And I asked him, because I've always been a FreedomSoft fan, but I liked the customization that I could do in Podio, right? But the problem with Podio is that it's very simple, and that's a beautiful thing. But if you want it to send emails or to send text messages or to create contracts or to do auto respond to texts and emails, you can't do that. You have to get all these third-party integration tools connected into it, right? Yeah, it's cheaper. There's a free version, and the premium version is $20 a month maybe. But when you add in all of these third-party integrations, it can get up to $100, $200 a month. Plus, then you have on top of that all of the headaches, because a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. And if you have all of these integrations, believe me, I'm speaking from firsthand experience. When you have all these integrations tied into it, if one of those links break, you may not know for weeks that it's not working. All right, you may not know that text message didn't go out, or that contract or that email wasn't sent, or whatever. So I started looking at FreedomSoft. I told Rob, I said, I want to white label this and I want to customize it for lease options and owner financing. He said, great. So we worked on a deal, and I'm in the middle. I'm almost done now. It's ready. We're not making it available yet. You'll be hearing more about this in the next coming weeks. But I wanted to show this to you because I'm excited about it, and it's going to make a huge difference on what you can do. And boy, I don't even know where to start. One of the things that I like about it so much is the dashboard. I've just been playing around. This is my trial account here, or my admin account here. You can track your KPIs, your numbers. You can see how many leads are coming from direct mail, how many of those leads became contracts, what was your average response rate, your average cost per lead, your total revenue by campaign. It tracks all of that. And so you can track buyer campaigns and seller campaigns. You can send and receive text messages and emails from inside each lead. You can create contracts. You can customize your own contracts. You click a button. You can email that contract to the seller. You can send it to them for electronic signature. When they sign it, that contract comes back and it attaches it to that lead. So it's not like you have to go find it in your email and then attach it to that lead. It keeps everything. So any text message response, email, all of that in the contracts, it stays attached to that lead. So you can see the whole history of it. You don't have to bring it in. The other thing you can do that I've been customizing with it is now with an email, you can actually send something in the mail, physical mail, to the seller. So if you got a contract here, if you're sending them a proposal, and I'll show you what that looks like here in just a minute, I could actually send that in the physical mail and a one-off letter to the seller. All right. So anyway, here I have some campaigns here where these are seller leads. Here we go. What we've done is we've set this up where one of our favorite marketing campaigns, or what strategies, is to get VAs and this company that we partner with to scrape Craigslist and Zillow. We can now import that list into REI Simple, and we can send text messages from in here. So no more having to get Vumber or CallRail. Let me switch my earpieces here. Sorry. Can you hear me, Gavin?
Yes.
I can't hear you yet. Hold on one second here. Okay, now I can hear it. Good.
Okay.
So we can do that outbound marketing from in here. Before, I used to have to make sure it was in a separate spreadsheet, and then I had to send the texts from Vumber or CallRail or some other tool. Now it can just all be done in here. So if a lead comes in here from Craigslist, you can get the information from here, and then you can send and receive text messages to the seller. So this is a real lead right here. I sent this was an old lead that I imported in, and I sent the seller a text. I said, you advertised a property on South Normal and Craigslist a while ago. We're looking for a property that we can lease then buy. Do you have anything? Thanks, Joe. He said, Joe, that one is leased already. I do have another on 103rd, one block east of blah, blah, blah. Lease is $2,100. Okay. This is something that your VA can do, and just go in and send this text messages from local phone numbers. All right. You can do this from local phone numbers. and it's amazing. You can also add these people to autoresponders, okay? And this is so cool. Check this out. I'm going to add this guy to a seller autoresponder 1. I'm actually not going to do that right now. Let me show you what the autoresponders look like. This is one of my, you can have multiple autoresponders. You can have one for sellers, new sellers. Sellers, once you get a property under contract, you just text them updates. You can get one for buyers, tenant buyers, etc. And you can mix it up with emails and text messages. I don't know if you understand how big of a deal this is. There is no other CRM that I know of that makes it this easy to send autoresponders like this in the system without third-party integrations. This is huge. Emails and text messages.
And I don't know if you already said this. You may have done. From real phone numbers and real email addresses, which is huge. So not 800 numbers, not spam looking like, real phone numbers that you choose that you can purchase for like $3 a month to send text messages from.
Yeah, when you send the text messages, it doesn't add at the bottom of the text stop to stop. Okay, so this is a real phone number that you're buying that's all integrated in here. You can also make and receive phone calls. So if I go back here to that lead I was just looking at.
Okay, hold on. I've had 2 people say you can't see the screen. Can everyone see the screen, guys? I can see it, so you should be able to see it. Yes, yes. Okay, Joe, carry on. No.
Look.
No, yes. Perfect.
So I can, if I wanted to, I could call this seller right now from my laptop. All right. So this is one of the cool things. If you have a VA doing cold calling or your team, they can make and receive phone calls right from the browser right here. So I could call this seller and select the number I want to call them from. Okay. And if I call them right now, they would see the caller ID from that local phone number, and I could talk to them, and I could even set it up where it records the call. And I could also send them a text message right here, send and receive. And if I go in here to communications and I click on SMS voicemails, I can see a history of all my conversations with them. The outbound calls, the inbound calls that were recorded, I can listen to the recordings. I can see the text messages. I can listen to the voicemails. I mean, I don't know if you get it. Like, that's insane. That's really awesome. You can send and receive faxes and emails and put them into autoresponders, etc. One of the things that I like a lot, let me go here to properties. This is one of the properties that we were playing with here. And this is where you can track the status, the deal type, the campaigns it came from. You can track your notes in here. You can also get web forms just like Podio. So if you have a VA, you don't want them to go into your system, you can give them a web form where they can just put in the data and then it comes in. You can track the property information. They also do skip tracing in here. So if from this property, if it was a new lead, there would be a button right here that says find owner. You click that, and based on the address, it'll populate the owner's information right here, their name, their mailing address, etc. Okay. Now this is something new that I've been working on. If you make this deal type a lease option, it opens up this document generator thing where you can start putting in your numbers that you want to for your proposal, or once you get it under contract. You put the information in there and you can then create your contracts. It created a short offer form right here for me. It fills it out. Now, this is something that I've been wanting to have Podio do forever, and it doesn't work, okay? But now it does work. So from this lead, let me just do one here for you. I want to create a contract for this house. All I do is click on this 3 dots, and I do generate document. I select the document that I want, and then I click on the next. It puts in what it wants to fill out, okay? Then I click next, and here's the document with the fields in there. And I can go in here and I can edit them. I can change them. Let's say I want to change this date to 2020, okay? I want to add a new contingency in here. Guess what I can do? I can click here, new contingency, blah, 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 blah. I can add that text in there. I can move it around, etc. And it's done. Like I can actually edit my contracts right here from in REI Simple. It's just insane. I'm so excited. Now, when I click complete, it's going to generate this contract. It's going to attach it to the record, and I can go in here and I can do a digital signature. I don't have the time to show you this, but like I can create and send it to them, and it tracks. Like I want this person to sign it first, and then this person. And after everybody signs it, and it sends reminder emails, then it comes back into here, and I get a notification that it's been signed. Huge. Like you could literally, when you're on the phone with the seller, tell them, okay, I'm going to send this to you right now. It takes a minute. You send it to them. Did you get the email? Good. Click the attachment. Do you see that button? Go ahead and sign it there. And while you're on the phone, you can walk them through. You don't have to send it to DocuSign, need to sign, hello sign.
Do you have one that we signed? Do you have one that we did that's already still in the system?
Yes. This one right here. Was it this one? No, it was the other one.
Because I know we were...
Yeah, so there's the signatures. You can handwrite it in or do it just like that. But it gives you the notification. It gives it to the seller. So I have all of my lease option contracts in here. I'm so excited about this. Now, let's say that one I was just looking at. You can also do buy and hold analysis, where you can send this to sellers and show them what your cash flow is going to be, your ROI, return on cash, and things like that. If you wanted to do a rehab estimate, you can put rehab estimates together. Really simple, just a few clicks of the button, and these are going to be within 10 to 15% of what it's actually going to cost. You get rental grade, fix and flip. Literally, all I did was answer like 5 or 6 questions and attach some pictures, and it creates my rehab estimates. This is what you can use to send out to your buyers. You can also get comps. These comps come from REI Simple, the address, price, the dates it's sold. All right, this again stuff that you can send out. One of the things I was going to show you, what was this here? Oh, that came from PropStream. Let's say I wanted to send my proposal. Oh yeah, this is so cool. So now when you click a button, it creates my lease option proposals. This is a 7-page contract or proposal that I put together that gives different options to the sellers, and it tells them what the benefits of a lease option are, the summary of the benefits, 3 pages of frequently asked questions, and it puts it all in here and creates it for you, right? Well, from here, if you email this document, I have this template in here called email to mail. And if I click that, it'll actually email this to the service that we use that will then put it in the physical mail and mail it to the seller. So what I've always recommended doing this is you send an email to the seller with the offer and you put it in the physical mail, because emails get lost. They go into spam. It could be a month or 2 later and they forgot about you and they don't remember how to find you. Now they have something in the mail that they can physically hold on to. This allows you then to send something in the physical mail, and the physical mail, depending on the number of pages, will cost anywhere from 80 cents to $1.20, $1.50. Super cool. There's a lot more I could show you, but just the fact that you can get comps, you can get a rehab estimator, you can help it analyze deals. It matches buyers. So if you've got 20 tenant buyers in here that are looking for a house in this part of the county, all right, when you get a property, you can blast it out by text and by email to those 20 buyers and tell them, we got a property here that you might be interested in. You can also do websites. So right now I got somebody from India or Pakistan customizing my lease option website that's going to be available to anybody who has REI Simple. And so when the property gets under contract, you can add it to your website with just a click, and now you've got a nice looking lease option website, et cetera. So I'm excited about this. I'm just barely touching the surface here. But just the fact that you can also get permissions too. So if you're in multiple markets, you can assign different local wholesalers to each of your different markets, and they don't see all the rest of your stuff. Like in Podio, you can only share everybody who is a member of that workspace sees everything in that workspace. This gives more control over that. Anything you want to add to this, Gavin?
No, it's just awesome. I know a lot of you guys have mentioned in the price for this. I don't know if you want to mention that now, Joe, or not.
Yeah, it'll be $100 to $200 a month.
Yeah, depending on the package.
Which again is cheaper than it would be if you were to get into Podio, get all of that stuff integrated and built in there, and not only that, but find somebody to do it for you. It's cool. All right, so we've got to move on. I'm excited about this. When it's available, you'll be able to get all of my lease option owner financing contracts, and my wholesaling contracts are going to be in there. And they're going to have direct mail templates in there, my email templates, my autoresponder follow-up templates are all going to be in there. My lease option websites for buyers, lease option website for sellers. It's going to be pretty cool. And FreedomSoft is supporting it. So they have a huge staff that supports it and answers questions. And so I'm not reinventing the wheel, which I'm excited about. I'm just piggybacking on what the great work that FreedomSoft already has done. And by the way, FreedomSoft has been around a long time. Rob Swanson bought it a couple years ago. He spent a lot of money getting some developers, and they have made it so much faster than it used to be. If you had FreedomSoft in the past, it was slow, it was annoying. It's like 5 times faster now. It's absolutely amazing, and it's really, really good. All right, so now what? Now what? Oh, here's some key takeaways, guys. If you want to succeed in this business, there's 3 principles that you need to think about. Model what works, keep it simple, and take this seriously, okay? Model what works. Why in the world would you try 100 different things, get embarrassed, fall flat on your face, lose money, when you can model what's already been proven clearly to work? We've been there, done that. We understand you. We know what works. We're in this business doing deals today. But more importantly, we are working with clients right now, helping them get started, getting leads, getting their systems in place, getting the virtual assistants. And where before they were stuck in professional student mode, studying, spending more money on education than they were actually making. And now we're able to, just by showing them what we're doing and installing what we're doing into their systems and stuff, they're able to now do deals way faster than they would have if they tried to do it on their own. So stop trying to reinvent the wheel. Stop trying to invent or create your own systems. Just model what works. The second principle to success is keep it simple. The simplest path is often the best. Right now you're at here and you want to do this. Well, you've got a lot of choices, a lot of paths you could take, but the fastest point between 2 lines is a straight line. 2 points is a straight line. You could do all the hard stuff, chase all the shiny objects, or you can just focus on 2 or 3 simple things and make money faster, make more money faster. So you have a simple choice to make, the simple path or the hard one. I think you're most going to pick the simple one, right? Third principle of success is take this seriously. It's time in 2019 to stop farting around, stop being a sissy, and I'm using the nice words, okay? If you want to succeed in business, you got to stop farting around. Take this seriously. Stop being afraid. I mean, like, you guys go out there and you spend thousands and thousands of dollars on education, but you're scared of spending $500 a month on a virtual assistant or $1,000 on direct mail. So stop being afraid of taking that first step. Once you take that first step, it's so much easier after that, okay? So take this seriously. Commit to learning everything you can about this business and then implement what you learn. We're talking about massive, imperfect action. It's okay to make mistakes. You got to commit to becoming the person you want to be. And committing to involves investing in yourself, all right? Now, we're going to talk real quick just about 3 of our recent clients that we've been working with. Janice and Russell. Elderly, I don't know if I'd call them elderly. That's bad. They're probably listening to this. I'm sorry, Janice and Russell. But, you know, what are they, in their 50s or 60s?
Yeah, that's what I would guess. Yeah.
They're older than we are. And I am getting
Janice
old.
is on.
Janice, we love you.
I had a great call with Janice this morning.
Listen.
This is awesome.
They're not up on all this technology stuff. I mean, they're good at computers, but like what the things I've been talking about, I'm just guessing might have probably overwhelmed them a little bit. But guess what they're doing now? They're doing deals in a virtual market from California in another market, and they're working with local wholesalers just like we taught them how to do. Just like we've set up the stuff for them, they're making it happen. They didn't let excuses get in their way. They didn't let people tell them you can't do that. They said, we're going to do it anyway. I mean, people tell them all the time, you can't do deals in California. The market's too expensive. Well, they said, you know what? Maybe we can, maybe we can't, but we know that we can do deals over here. And so they've been working with other, and what they've been facing challenges and overcoming them with, they started working with a wholesaler that didn't work out, but you know what? They didn't quit or give up. They found somebody else, right? Gavin, you want to talk about anything more about that, or talk about Rachel and Jeff here?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, guys, honestly, the results have been fantastic. Since we've changed and started to do this, we kind of put two packages together. We kind of sat back about 6 months ago and decided, you know, what is going to give us the best outcome for students? Where's the holdups? And that's in the systems, okay? We know there's money made on the phone. If we are not allowing you to be on the phone making offers and doing deals, then we can't expect you to do a deal, you know, in a timely fashion. So what we've decided to do is we take that over by setting that up. It allows it. So Jeff, for instance, is in Michigan. We've got a few people that were on Jeff's group as witnesses. He got 4 deals in the first month. Okay, he got this first contract within 3 days. Now, I'm not here to say that everybody does it that fast, but it is very possible. Okay, so to get your investment back in the first month is incredible. Rachel, on the other hand, she's been working hard. She just closed 2 deals last week. Well, not last week, the week before Christmas. 2 deals, about $13,500 for the 2. So great start. And again, just persistence, doing what you're supposed to be doing, talking to sellers, making offers and following up. Okay, if we can get the leads coming in, that's what we're trying to do. That's what our goal is. Okay, our goal is to get the leads coming in for you to do your job to take these deals down. Okay, and that's just a couple. You know, Janice, as we talked about, we had a great call today. You know, they've had like 7 in closing, and they didn't get a deal for the first couple of months. Okay, probably 2.5 months, but then we had 7 in closing. So it's the knock effect by getting the right, you know, things in place and believing that it works. All right, a lot of this is mindset and making no excuses, right? And the way that we've set this up is that there's no excuses to be made, because if you've got leads coming in, you should be doing deals. There's nothing else to say. So gone are the days of I can't get leads. That's not going to happen. Everybody of our clients will say, and they're all, not all of them online, there's probably 10 of them online, okay? And they will all say it's not leads we're struggling with, okay? It's doing the systems. They're focusing on talking to the sellers, and that's what they're practicing to get these deals to then go from not 1 to 2, but to 5 to 10 a month.
Yeah, it's all about keeping it simple, modeling what works, and just doing it. Janice is giving me a hard time.
I know, I see it here.
I'm so bad. But I'm just so proud of them that they're doing these deals and they're overcoming these obstacles. It's not easy, but they're doing it, right? And they have so much more potential. 2019 is going to be an incredible year for them. I'm super excited about that. And a bunch of other people are giving us a hard time too. So I'm going to stop talking about age. I turned 45. Is that right? Yes, I turned 45 in a couple 3 weeks. So anyway, so some of you guys want to work with us, and we're still doing deals. We want to do more. We're looking to grow into new markets. Now, we do about once, well, occasionally, I'm not sure how often we do this, but we occasionally do these implementation workshops where we work with a small group of people, not more than 10. And we work with a small group implementing this stuff over a 2-day period in St. Louis. And so we have 4 more spots in our next implementation workshop at the end of January. The last workshop we did early December, was it, Gavin? I forget.
Yes.
We had clients there actually in our meeting getting leads. So like we were setting up their cold calling systems and stuff. And we set up their CRMs. We set up the cold calling. We actually got a VA for them. And we pulled a list. We found the best zip codes. We pulled the best lists. And we skip traced that list. got the VA on the dialer, and that VA was starting to make phone calls right then and there from the Philippines and was putting leads into the CRM while we were there. It was insane.
Just real quick, Gideon, you were the one, well, one of. Let us know. You've just commented about your age. Let us know what you thought about that workshop, honest opinion, and how many leads you got. Because I know on the time you were like amazed that you were, and you're in California.
Yeah.
It's just insane. Just let us know.
Gideon's also giving me a hard time about my age. So just insert foot in mouth, take out. All right. So this is what you're going to get, guys, if you decide that we're going to be a good fit and work. You're going to get me and Gavin working one-on-one. Again, this isn't coaching. This is doing deals. You're going to get a clear plan and accountability, weekly calls, one-on-one Voxer access, private Facebook group, and we're going to set up all your systems and marketing. We're going to set up REI Simple. You may not want to use REI Simple. You may want to use Podio. That's fine. We'll help you set that up. We're going to give you the websites. We're going to give you the VAs. We're going to set up your cold calling. That's our favorite marketing strategy right now. We're going to help you find the best lists in the best areas that you want to target. Maybe it's your market. Maybe it's another market. We'll help you figure that out. We're going to pull that list. We're going to skip trace it. We're going to set up Mojo. Mojo Sells is our dialer of choice just because it's super simple. And we're having tremendous success with that. But in addition, after the cold calling is set up, now again, you're not doing the cold calling. We've got VAs right now with good English that make the initial calls, all right? And then if it's a seller that says, yeah, I might consider selling, then they put those leads into the CRM where you can call them then and close the deal, all right? They're not doing pre-screening like making offers. They're just finding people that say, yeah, I'm interested in selling. On average, we're getting 2 to 5 leads a day on a budget of $500 to $1,000 a month. Okay, that's huge. That's really, really stinking good. 2 to 5 leads a day on a budget of $500 to $1,000 a month doing just cold calling. All right. The other thing that we're going to help, Gavin, you want to say something?
I was just saying, Gideon just got back to it. He just said, yeah, just sitting there, we picked up 12 leads in that session. We are over, since December, the second week of December, he says we're now over 200 leads.
That's insane. That's
ridiculous.
That's really, so we're continuing to work with Gideon because sometimes our biggest complaint that we get is I'm getting too many leads. And so that's what we're here for. Right? That's a good problem to have. So let's keep it simple and let's figure out how to make offers. The other thing we're going to help set up is the whole Craigslist Zillow texting. It's very, very difficult to find somebody that can go out into Craigslist and scrape Zillow and Craigslist. It's almost impossible. But we partner with a company out of Australia that does it, and it's phenomenal. It's cheaper than any VA that you could find that could do it for you. So we can provide that service where we can get the company to goes out there and scrapes as many different markets as you want, Craigslist and Zillow for rentals and for sale by owners, and puts them in here. We can put it into REI Simple, and the VA can send and make those text messages and emails for you directly from REI Simple, okay? And the other thing is, once that is done, if you want to do direct mail, we can set that up for you as well. So when you come to St. Louis for the implementation workshop, a lot of this stuff, we're going to set it up before you get here, and or when you are here, we're going to set it up with you. So you can just really, our whole goal of this is to do deals. We want you to just focus on talking to sellers and making offers, all right? Let us help you with the simple systems. And we're simplifying this all of the time. And it's now even better than ever. I wish I would have had REI Simple 2 or 3 years ago, but now it's here, and I'm excited about it. All right, now, come to St. Louis. We're going to do a 2 days hand-on implementation workshop. We're going to have 10 people there max. Now, some of them may be partners and stuff like that. But we're going to set up the systems and set up your initial marketing. Now, we're not going to be doing your marketing long-term, but we're going to give you the huge push and the momentum that you need. And then hopefully, we're going to do deals together. Okay, that's our goal. we want to do deals with you. And so we're trying to just grow and expand this. This isn't for everybody, but right now this market is becoming easier and easier to do creative financing deals. And you just need somebody that can hold your hand and help you with this. A lot of you guys know how to do wholesaling. You've been doing deals, but now you want to start looking at how to do owner financing, how to do lease option, these creative financing deals. Well, why don't you partner with us on them? All right. And if you want, sometimes we don't always do this, but sometimes, if you don't feel comfortable putting it in your LLC, then you put it into our LLC, and we'll put our name on the line if it's a good enough deal. All right. And then also in the 2-day workshop, we review how to do deals and how to build your team. So we're going to talk a lot about, okay, this is now that you got a lead coming in, what do you say to them? We're going to practice calling sellers live at the event. We're going to practice actual deals and going through, and this is how the contracts work and stuff like that. It's really simple. Now, this isn't for everyone. We really literally only accept what's less than 25% of the people who apply. You need to have a budget for VAs and for marketing. It's an application process. We want to talk with you right now and see if you're a good fit. And what's going to happen when we get on the phone and talk, we're actually going to help you on the phone. We're going to find out where you are now, where you want to be in 6 to 12 months, find out what's stopping you, what are the gaps. We're going to give you a little simple plan, and we're going to say, hey, listen, do you want our help with this? That's it. We're no high-pressure sales tactics. We want to talk with you on the phone first to see if you're a good fit. You're probably thinking, I don't know why I wrote this down. A guru coach is probably going to scam you again. They're just concerned about themselves and making money off me. Well, that's not true, but I know what that's like. My first quote-unquote coach, I spent on 3 different credit cards $13,000. But then I just wanted to say this. After I started doing deals, I hired another coach. I spent a few days with him down in Dallas, and I got to see the actual systems that were in place, and that changed everything for me, okay? I've always had a coach ever since then. I put my money where my mouth is, and that's it. Now, what are the next steps? If you're interested in this, go to coachjoe.net. We're going to get to your questions here in just a minute because there's a lot of questions in here. If you're interested, go to coachjoe.net. There's a video of me and Gavin there talking about what we're doing, what we're looking for, and there's it's list out on there everything that we will do, what you're going to do, and why we're doing this. All right, now what does it cost? In the past, we've charged 25 grand for this. We're going to get on the phone and talk with you about the cost. It's a lot less than 25 grand, and you're going to get your money back on the first 1 or 2 deals. Simple as that. In fact, the reason why we charge the money up front is we want to make sure we're working with people who have some skin in the game. We're going to set up all these systems and do all these things in the hope that we do more deals together. But if you don't do the deals, or you don't do what we tell you to do, or you don't use the systems that we're set up, we don't want to be the one left holding the bag. So that makes sense. We'll talk about it on the phone. If you're interested in this, go to coachjoe.net. Coachjoe.net. It's a lot less than 25 grand, and you're going to get your money back on the first 1 to 2 deals.